Hello, welcome to Global Eye. I'm Parikshit Luthra. The top global story this evening: Donald Trump has become the first former president in U.S. history to face federal indictment. He has been charged with 7 counts, including conspiracy to obstruct, unauthorized retention of national security documents, and false statements. However, Trump says he's innocent and said that he will surrender before the authorities this Tuesday. To discuss that and much more, we're now joined by Steve Herman, Chief National Correspondent at the Voice of America. Steve, thank you very much for being with us here on CNBC-TV18. 7 charges over the classified documents case. How serious is this for former President Trump?
It is very serious. It is the most significant legal challenge he has ever faced before, during, or after his presidency. We've never had anything like this in American history, going back to 1776, when America declared independence from Great Britain. We have never had a former president indicted on federal criminal charges.
Right. Give us a sense of the kind of charges against Donald Trump, and could he face a prison sentence as a result?
He certainly could face prison if convicted on any of these charges. They are quite serious, and of course, they involve alleged mishandling of sensitive government documents that Trump has acknowledged, essentially taking from the White House to his home in the state of Florida, the Mar-a-Lago estate. And these charges involve violating the Espionage Act, making false statements, and conspiring to obstruct justice. And a number of legal analysts here in the United States are saying, from what they know, because this is still under seal, we haven't seen precisely what is in the indictment, but from what Trump has said and from what his lawyer has said and leaks to the media, these are quite serious charges.
Right. And what has been the defense of President Trump's legal team? What will be his next move, according to you?
Well, the next move is for him to show up for an initial appearance in a federal courtroom in Miami in the state of Florida next Tuesday. Trump is not going to fight that, although he will, according to himself and his lawyers, vociferously fight these charges in a court, and presumably there will be a trial at some point. None of us really see the former president entering into any sort of plea bargain arrangement, that they would want to get a trial and hope to be acquitted through that process.
Right. Give us also a sense of what this means for former President Trump's political career as well, his bid for presidency, and if all of these charges go ahead, what will this mean politically for the Republican Party?
Sure. Well, as you know, he is the front runner in his quest for a 3rd consecutive time to capture the Republican Party nomination and attempt to return to the White House for a 2nd term as president. We've only had once in American history where a president was out of office and successfully came back. That was Grover Cleveland in the late 19th century. So there is a precedent for that. The challenge here for Trump is that some of his primary party opponents will now ask him, as some are starting to do, that he step aside because he's facing these criminal charges. But Trump is the front runner. I covered him in the White House for 4 years. He is not someone who backs down, or as he likes to say, never give an inch. So Trump is going to be very defiant. He's fundraising off of this. We can expect that his core group of supporters, about 1/3 of the Republican Party base, will most likely stick with him. But 6 out of 10 Americans, presumed voters, say that Donald Trump should not be president again.
Right. How does this really help the Democrats at this stage? Just about 7 to 8 months for the election to go in the United States. How does this really help the Democrats?
Yes, it's about 7 months before the first votes are cast in the primary elections, both the Republicans and Democrats. Joe Biden, the presumptive nominee of the Democratic Party. The Democrats are just going to sit back and watch the Republicans fight among themselves. There's really no political upside for President Biden to really start attacking Donald Trump. The White House is being very careful. They will just say, we are not involved in the judicial process here. It needs to play out. Of course, Donald Trump is not seeing it that way at all. He believes that this is political retaliation against him and that this is the only way to stop him from getting back in the White House, and that Joe Biden is using the Department of Justice as an instrument to go after Donald Trump. Of course, the Justice Department and the White House will tell you none of that is really going on.
All right, Steve Herman, thank you so much for joining us here on Global Eye, giving us your view on Donald Trump's indictment, what it means for the former president's election bid and what it means politically in America at this juncture. Let's move on, and this is a disturbing story coming in. Hundreds of forest fires have erupted across Canada, affecting critical infrastructure and forcing evacuations. The smoke and haze has affected parts of the United States East Coast, including New York, Washington, and other major cities. Radhika Udas and Shilpa Rani Peta report on the impact of the fires, which have caused the worst air pollution in recent U.S. history.
Our modeling shows that this may be an especially severe wildfire season throughout the summer. This is a scary time for a lot of people, not just in Alberta, but right across the country.
Wildfires in Canada's western provinces are a common occurrence, but not this year. Flames from the fires have spread rapidly towards the east. Canada's ministers say at least 3.8 million hectares have already burned down. There were 437 active wildfires over the past 2 days, with nearly 250 labelled as out of control by the Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre. Canada is receiving support from the US to douse the fires. A team of firefighters from South Africa have also arrived.
We've received a lot of warnings already from yesterday, from different, like from my son's daycare itself and from the environment, Canada itself. Our companies, they're advising us to work from home.
The disaster, however, was not just limited to the Great North. Smoke from the fires have also spread to the east coast of the United States, leaving a blanket of haze on the city of New York. The air quality index has surpassed a hazardous 400 times in few U.S. cities. All outdoor activity has been curtailed.
Schools were shut down today, and then tomorrow also they were asked to be remote. So this has affected not only, one crowd or particular crowd, because it has so much smoke everywhere. It felt like smoke, you were inhaling barbecue smoke that comes out from, whenever you do barbecue, chicken barbecue, the smoke that you're inhaling, it was 24/7.
Warm and dry conditions are expected to persist in Canada for some more months. About 26,000 people are being evacuated in the country. Quebec has been the worst hit. That's not all. The air quality has sparked health concerns as well. Well, Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau's defense that the wildfires were caused by climate change may invite criticism as well. The threat of climate change will not drift away anytime soon. In Mumbai, Radhika Udas.
All right, Radhika Udas getting us that disturbing story on the Canada wildfires and how it's affecting the ecosystem in the area. Moving on to the other big global headline. With an aim to check the economic coercion of countries like China and Russia, US and the United Kingdom have come together for an Atlantic declaration. President Biden has said that US companies have committed investments of £14 billion in the UK this week. What are the pillars of this agreement, which really cover all economic sectors and has national security interests of the two countries at the core? Commenting on the Atlantic Declaration, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said, and I quote him now, "Countries like China and Russia are willing to manipulate and exploit our openness, steal our intellectual property, use technology for authoritarian ends, or withdraw crucial resources like energy. They will not succeed." What are the key objectives of the Atlantic Declaration? Number one, resilient, diversified and secure supply chains, close coordination on economic security and tech protection toolkits as well. The Atlantic Declaration has a 5-point action plan. Firstly, ensuring US-UK leadership in critical and emerging technology, which includes joint R&D in quantum technology, telecom, semiconductors and AI. Setting up of a US-UK strategic technology investor council and facilitating reciprocal talent flow as well. Secondly, having economic security toolkits. This includes preventing outbound investment from going to countries of concern, ensuring flexible and coordinated export controls, developing an effective joint sanction strategy, and also reducing vulnerabilities across supply chains of critical technology. Thirdly, putting in place a data bridge between US and UK to facilitate data flows and privacy protections, accelerate cooperation on AI and deepening collaboration on privacy-enhancing technologies. Both sides will put in place a critical mineral agreement for the electric vehicle supply chain, which includes cobalt, graphite, lithium, manganese and nickel as well. A joint clean energy supply chain action plan and a joint standing committee on nuclear energy cooperation is also on the cards. All of this likely to happen in the next 12 to 18 months. Finally, deepening industrial collaboration in defense, increasing cooperation on tackling emerging infectious diseases, and exploring cooperation on space, nuclear power and propulsion as well. So a very broad-based agenda that US and UK will be embarking on together in 2023. On that note, we are going to be taking a short break here on CNBC-TV18, but don't go anywhere. CNBC-TV18 has partnered with US-India Business Council for the upcoming India Ideas Summit, which kicks off next week. This comes just ahead of Prime Minister Modi's US visit later this month. A special coverage exclusively on CNBC-TV18 with US-India Business Council President Atul Kashyap. Don't go anywhere. That's coming up.